and welcome back to the Classic Doctor Who Marathon. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
And in this episode we are looking at the third ever story, The Edge of Destruction, which is also technically the finale to the first trilogy of stories.
Well, it is the finale to the first trilogy of stories.
Yeah, but it wasn't like set out as a trilogy.
Well, originally they were planned for only 13 episodes.
By this point they'd already got much further. So this story is the first two-parter in the show's history, and if it was in modern day, it would have been a one-parter.
Or maybe the last two-parter.
But because the overall total for this would be 50 minutes. And it's essentially, there's a force at work in the TARDIS,
which is wiping, which first wipes the crew's mind of each other, but a couple then.
And everyone sort of goes mad.
Very mad.
Yeah.
The Doctor nearly poisons them. This
episode came about essentially because they didn't have the money to do Marco Polo yet for another 2 weeks. So it was already out of the question to make the Daleks even longer, because
otherwise we'd still be watching that.
Because that story is too long anyway. And so they decided to have a sort of coda to the first part of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And
which
it came out with this.
Arc of the
and it was written by David Whittaker, who is
the grandfather of Jodie Whittaker.
No, was the original script editor. So
he's edited.
So your first reaction, what did you think of Edge of Destruction?
Well, I thought it was really interesting, and some parts were really creepy. It's interesting because it's very different to normal Doctor Who, where there's a specific villain. Because there's not really a villain in this. It's more of
it's a more character-driven story.
Yeah, it's definitely one for character bonding. It's the one that makes the TARDIS crew a team. But the whole plot is that there's this energy inside the TARDIS time rotor, which when it goes up and down, it stores the energy of the TARDIS, which if it escaped, it would get very messy. But it's really interesting not having like a defined villain.
Yeah. So, as a story on its own, what do you make of it? Just general opinion.
I quite like it, but
it's better than An Unearthly Child, I reckon.
Yes.
Probably better than the Daleks.
When you say An Unearthly Child,
I mean that's
as a whole
the whole story.
The
whole story.
Because if it was just An Unearthly Child, then
barely anything beats An Unearthly Child Part 1.
But when you're talking about the whole collective,
yeah. But I think this is probably the best of the original 3 stories. Maybe
better than the Daleks.
The Daleks would be there, but it's just a bit long.
Okay.
What do you make of the cast in this episode? Because this episode really is about the relationship of the cast.
Well, I liked watching how like the characters were at some points torn from each other, sometimes put close.
Yeah, you never really know who you can trust. And then by the end,
the end of part 1 is literally the Doctor going to poison.
Is it? No, it's Ian going to stab the Doctor.
Well, like it's near the end.
But yeah, so I think by the end of the story, it basically makes the TARDIS unit whole again. So that by the next story, Marco Polo, they are definitely the unit.
Well, it literally ends with them all laughing, telling jokes, and then Susan and Barbara going outside.
Yeah. This is the story which sort of made it no longer be unwilling crew members.
And the Doctor having to trick them.
It became a team effort from this story onwards, essentially. Which this episode sort of set the pace for everything which followed.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to say about it, apart from all the character stuff in this. And we get to see a loss of the TARDIS, don't we?
Yeah, I swear whenever there's new companions, there's always one episode which is sort of like that, about the character bonding.
Not really.
There sort of is.
I don't think so.
Like, I feel like in series 11 with Jodie Whittaker,
they didn't.
Arachnids was sort of one. Because it sort of ended with them going like, we don't want to be home, we want to stay with you permanently. Because remember to begin with...
There's always an episode which is you're now properly a member of the team.
Because like before then, it was them going like, we want to go home, and I was like, no, we want to stay with you.
However, I think this story actually, I'd like a story like this in series 12.
Well, it's not like a proper villain.
I would like a story where maybe... I feel like no one would really mind if they had in series 12. I feel like maybe they could have done this in series 11, where we had a story set.
Well, in series 11, they were trying not to take too many risks.
Yeah, but I don't think this would be a risk. I think this would really help, particularly for people who haven't become too keen of the 13th Doctor or Yaz, particularly so far. Have a story set completely in the TARDIS, a la Edge of Destruction.
It might also seem like a rip-off.
I don't think so.
You would probably think.
Dalek's a rip-off, if we're going by that logic.
Of what?
Of, I think it's Jubilee. It's a Big Finish audio. Written by the same guy.
Which, well, when you're the same writer, you're allowed to
No, but I think this story would really help, because I enjoyed Series 11. I would have liked a bit more character stuff from the 13th Doctor and Yaz. You could get that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like Series 11 was where it should have been. Wouldn't say no to it early on in Series 12.
Well,
I think Amy's Choice you sort of get back with Matt Smith.
there's a lot of character development. Like, there's always one episode in each one about character developing.
Series 11 you don't really get that, because that's more...
It's more Graham and Ryan.
Yeah, I want a Series 12 to have a lot more focus on the Doctor and Yaz. And I think this story would be the way to do it. A story like this, which I only thought of this like when we were about to record this. What if we had this now? A story like this. But even we could get a darker side to the 13th Doctor.
Maybe.
I think I wouldn't complain. It can't just be word for word.
So suddenly,
Chesterfield!
I'm interested.
I'm Graham!
No, because that wouldn't be word to word.
They're all playing different characters in this episode.
And they can do that now with the time rotor, because it's now back to one that goes up and down.
But yeah, so...
Although they'll need to detach it.
So we'll get off Series 11, but I think this would be the way forward. It's like...
Every episode, locked in the TARDIS.
No, I like stories which are... Not like Journey to Centre of the TARDIS, 'cause I didn't like that. But like, if it's just like a problem with just the main cast, I think as a one-off, that'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Could do it as a Christmas special. They did it for Big Finish, you know, the Relative Dimensions one.
Yeah, but I think that's sort of...
They could do that for this year's Christmas special. There's a rumour there's a Christmas special.
Okay.
They could do a story completely set in
Speaking
the
of which,
TARDIS.
do you want there to be a Christmas special or New Year's special?
Don't mind. As long as we get a
I've
good
heard they're
story.
going back to the Saturday format.
I hope they don't. Anyway, so back to Edge of Destruction. So
We can do like a bonus video talking about that one day.
So as a coda to this original set, how does it fare?
Unearthly Child. First, just Unearthly Child, not the rest of that story. It's not as good as that.
Well, I'm not ranking, but does it work, do you reckon, as a coda to this arc?
If it wasn't for the Marco Polo thing at the end, I think it could...
The show could have ended.
It could have...
No, it couldn't, because...
No, like, what I'm saying is that if there wasn't that Marco Polo ending, and it's just they carried on, then it could have been like its own mini-series. Which essentially it is, but...
It could have been
it could have
series
just been
1.
like, yeah, like, if it wasn't for that Marco Polo ending, because they definitely try and do it, that there are separate stories, but they all lead into one another.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, really, I don't see this story much as a finale, but more as the end of the pilot.
Yeah. It's like testing the format.
Yeah. So, and this story basically ends with, and now they're allies, this is the show moving forward. Because you don't get that in Unearthly Child. You don't, and Unearthly Child is the pilot, you don't necessarily get the feel of, okay, this is the show. You get, like, elements of it, but I don't think you get, like, the proper Doctor Who format until the end of this story.
Especially with, like, the character of the Doctor.
Yeah, and the story itself, we've not really spoken about the story, but the story is very good.
You kind of have.
We hit not to great detail. I found with these videos we sort of just discuss it and how it relates to
Well,
the
and
rest
just
of the Doctor.
hope that they
Hope
understand.
something comes out.
Hope that someone understands what we're talking about.
But yeah, I think the story's really good. I really enjoy it. I don't know how long we've been talking for,
Well,
but
even on the front cover, this one's a lot more on Ian and Barbara, because like the cover's Ian and Barbara.
yeah, well, I mean, in this arc, we've got Susan, the first one, then the Doctor, Denny and Barbara.
Like they've even got, like, for the miniseries, I remember just saying about this in a previous episode, they've got their own format, which is different to other ones. Like, they had character, behind them was the vortex, and then some stuff on the side.
That's always the same for DVDs.
No.
The DVD wasn't the original release, you know.
I know, but, like, the DVDs are presenting it in that way.
Yeah, I think as a coda to the pilot, I treat it... I mean, there's a reason those three were released together as the beginnings box set. As well as the fact that Marco Polo's missing.
Yeah, but we can forget about it. I want there to be an animation of Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Have they got the audio?
They got the audio of every Doctor Who ever.
I don't know why, but I want to one day make custom Lego figures and recreate Marco Polo as a Lego film.
I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
No.
Why not?
And on that note, thank you for watching.
No, I've not rated it.
Okay, oh yeah. Rating
You
out of
can't
10.
just end the video there.
9 out of 10.
There's going to be a viewer out there going, why didn't they rate it?
What rating do you want to give?
8.5.
I'm going to give it a 9. I really like it. So, thank you for watching the Classic Doctor Who Marathon. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.